Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and today I want to talk to you about A Man Called Ove by Fredrick Backman. And honestly, as I picked this up, first of all, I got it for 42 cents at a thrift store, so can't really argue with that. But not my typical genre. I know I'm fairly new to BookTube, but kind of seems like Stephen King is a common theme, and so something like A Man Called Ove, typically not the kind of book that I would read, but I had heard so many things about it from friends and from others here on YouTube that I had to give it a shot. And so I decided to dive in, and wow. Um, what do I say about Ove? Basically, if you're not familiar with the story, it is about a grumpy old man which, by the way, I need to take issue with Frederick Bachman here for a second. Ove is a grumpy old man who is introduced as being 59 years old. Now, Frederick Bachman, this was written 9 years ago. He was like 30 years old. So maybe at age 30, 59 sounded old. But I'm not all that far off of that mark, and 69 maybe. Um, it was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around Ove as this grouchy old man, but still only being 59 years old. Anyway, that being said, if that's the major fault with the book, life will go on. So, Ove, obviously we know is a grouchy old man. He is let go from his place of employment and some other things going on in his life, and basically kind of loses a sense of his purpose. And he finds himself with some new neighbors who, despite Ove's best intentions, insist on getting involved in his life, and they keep coming to him with questions, with problems, with things that need fixed. And one thing with Ove is you'll find out all the reasons why if you read the book, but he kind of wants to end his life. And so we do have that theme of an older man who not only wants to end his life, but also plans and tries to execute several attempts at taking his life, every time being thwarted by one of his pesky neighbors, knocking at the door, coming to ask him something, needing something from him. And so we get the development of the story that Ove, despite his best efforts to have nothing to do with anybody, he finds himself becoming an object of affection with these neighbors, and he ends up befriending people that, despite his most fervent protests, he ends up drawing people to himself and becomes a beloved figure to many people that he encounters. And Bachman writes Ove very well in terms of he definitely communicates the concept that Ove is a grumpy old man. He doesn't understand uh, newer things, nor does he have any desire to understand newer things. He is the typical guy who, it was good enough back then, it's good enough now. The, some things don't need to be improved. He finds several reasons to be suspicious of people, particularly based on what kind of car they drive. Several times when he finds out what kind of car somebody drives, Ove will declare, "How can you even talk to somebody who likes a car like that?" So there are a lot of moments when you see Ove just wants nothing to do with new stuff, fancy stuff, what younger people are into. Really doesn't have any desire to interact with people at all. On the cover here, there is a cat, a stray cat that continually surrounds his house, and he wants nothing to do with this cat, but obviously the cat will go on to play a significant role in the story. So I don't want to give too much else away about the plot without giving any spoilers away. So that's kind of the quick overview of A Man Called Ove. Now, as I mentioned before, probably my biggest complaint, and it's probably nitpicking, is this grumpy old man is only 59 years old, which just seems awfully young to be portraying a grumpy old man. But again, it's nitpicking. Ove is two things simultaneously. He is that hard headed, stubborn, grumpy character that is annoying. And many people are annoyed by him, and you completely understand their annoyance with him. However, in the middle of that, Fredrick Backman also gives you a lot of Ove's background. And so there are several times where we're looking at what Ove is going through right now, but then we have some flashback chapters. Going back to when he was younger, when he was a teenager, when he first met his wife, and in the early days of their marriage. And so we get a lot of these flashbacks, and you begin to get a better appreciation for Ove and the life that he's lived, the kind of person that he is, and in a lot of ways why he is the way that he is. So, on the one hand, you want to shake your fist in frustration at Ove, but at the same time, you want to reach out and give him a hug. So, Bachman does really a great job of bringing both of those sides of Ove's character together into uh, an old man that you really just can't help but fall in love with, just like all the other people that are in his life. And really, I think in terms of the age was the only real thing, I guess, that I would critique. I mean, there's no perfect book, um, but I have to say, I was enjoying the book thoroughly, going through, and pretty much already decided that I was going to give it a 4-star review because it's just not my genre, and so I didn't want to give it 5 stars. But Ovea got me. Gave him 5 stars. Um, the way this book ends, um, let me just be real here for a second. I don't cry. It's not that I don't want to. It's not that I'm too macho to not cry. I just don't for whatever reason. Yeah, I admit it. The end of the book, I cried. My wife looked over and was taken quite aback because, again, I don't cry, but Bachman, you got me. Uh, this is a heartwarming story. It's a funny story. There are a lot of truly delightful, funny moments throughout the story. There are some great, I don't want to say one liners, but just some great little sentences thrown in there. One in particular, and again, you find something out pretty early in the book, but I want you to encounter that on your own. But there's one statement in particular that deals with why Ove doesn't like talking to people. And it's just this throwaway line, but wow, was it powerful. And you get several of these throughout the story of just these little reflection statements or insight statements that are just thrown in there at the end of a paragraph, but it's like, well, I need to make a T-shirt out of that or something. So, and I believe this might be Bachman's first book, if I'm not mistaken. And wow, uh, way to start. And he's obviously gone on to write several others. Have heard great things about all of his books. Um, I don't know if I'll read them. Honestly, as much as I enjoyed this, I did find myself constantly saying, I wish I was reading Stephen King. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed every second of A Man Called Ove. Again, the only real complaint I have is Ove was just too young to be as grumpy as he was. Maybe give him just another 10 years, it would have made a big difference. But I know it's kind of harping on it, but that's just the one hang up for me. Start him off at 69 or something, just a little bit more believable. But I loved it. I really did. I thought it would be okay, but it was really good. Uh, Even if you don't think something like this is your typical genre, and again, I seldom read books like this. I want action or thrillers, preferably something more of a horror novel. So definitely outside of my comfort zone, but I'm really glad I read it. Very glad I read it, and I really think you'll enjoy it. So, guys, I don't see a lot of guys reviewing this. They might be out there, but I haven't come across them yet. Give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it. I think there's at least a little bit of Ove in all of us. So I think there's different parts where we can see a little bit of ourselves reflected in him. And the way that Bachman portrays Ove's marriage to Sonia, his wife, um, beautiful. You fall in love with this couple, and yeah, A Man Called Ove by Fredrick Backman. Despite my not wanting to give it 5 stars, they got him. They earned it. Brought me to tears. Great book. Check it out. Anyway, thanks for stopping by the channel. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I now have this channel here is completely devoted to my book reviews. I had it on another channel mixed in with some other things, but now brand new, nothing but book reviews and book talk here on this channel, Paul's Bookshelf. So like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I'd super appreciate it. And if you've read Ove, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like. I would love to talk with you further down there. So again, thanks for watching. Check out A Man Called Ove. I think you'll enjoy it. Take care.